Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Palo Alto, where we come to transform ourselves and each other and the world. Let's all unmute for a few moments just to hear each other say hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, everybody.
Hello. Nice to be with you.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hi, this is Greg and Becky.
Karen and Carl.
This is Isa.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
See me sound, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
I invite you to light a chalice or candle at home as well, as we let these words of the Reverend Howard Thurman speak for each one of us. In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of the holy, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in good times or in tempests, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. With our centering words each week, we draw on the many sources of our living tradition. As a welcoming congregation, we want to call attention to the fact that today is National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. In the most recent year tracked, African Americans accounted for 43% of all HIV diagnoses in the United States, almost triple of their proportion of the population. They have to cope with the disease, with the racism that makes them more likely to get it and less likely to get adequate treatment, and with the stigma of HIV and AIDS. One of our greatest American choreographers suffered from this multiple burden. Alvin Ailey spent his life creating art that continues to bless and inspire us. When he was dying of an AIDS-related illness, he asked for the cause of death to be concealed from the public so that his mother would not also suffer from the stigma of AIDS. He died at age 58. So these words come from Alvin Ailey. Dance is for everybody. I believe that the dance came from the people and that it should always be delivered back to the people. I'm interested in putting something on stage that will reach an audience and make it part of the dance. As we follow the sound of the bell into silence, let us become centered and fully present in this place together. Please join in as Bruce leads us in singing, "Open My Heart."
Seek, let me
We have a story, yes, this morning. Isn't that right? Oh, good.
Are you going in Sharpie's time machine again today? She said she'd show me one more protest. Sharpie, you were going to show me one more protest? I wanted to show you a completely different kind of protest. Hey, that's Mr. and Ms. Bear. But they're not back in time. They're in the next room. I set the time machine to 0, that's all. Hi, Mr. and Ms. Bear. Could you explain to Possum about how you protest? Of course, dear. We do quite a few things that you might call protesting. If we learn that a company has a bad environmental record or treats their workers badly or doesn't hire enough non-white people, we won't buy from them. That's our way of protesting against companies that are unjust. We won't buy meat from the store as a way of protesting how the meat industry adds to global climate change. Plus, they treat their workers badly. And we no longer buy plastics of any kind. Plastics are made out of petroleum product. Plus, they cause trash pollution in the ocean. This doesn't sound much like protesting. Sometimes we go to regular protests too. For example, we were at a Black Lives Matter protest last fall. But remember, that kind of protest is just a way of showing what your most important values are. We believe in living every day, so we always show our most important values. Thank you, Ms. and Mr. Bear. You've given Possum and me a lot to think about. But they say plastics are made from petroleum, and plastics cause pollution in the ocean. That takes all the fun out of squirt guns. It all sounds like too much for one little possum to make a difference. It's like that poem. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I can do something, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do.
We now turn our thoughts to the important events of our lives which we wish this community to share. If you have a joy or a sorrow you would like me to speak this morning, please send your joys and sorrows to joyconcern@uucpa.org or post them in the chat box provided by Zoom, and I will share them aloud. I have a couple things to share that have come my way already. Brian Weller shares the joy of receiving a charming Valentine card from the senior high youth group from SHIG. And I would like to share the joy that two groups, senior high youth group and a group of people gathered by the Caring Network, spent last weekend sending 50 cards out to folks in the congregation. And it was fun, and we'll do it again. So thanks so much. If you'd like to join that effort, do write to caring@uucpa.org, and we'll include you. Then let's take a time of silent prayer or meditation to hold all that we have heard with compassion and care. Blessed be. Now please join in as Bruce leads us in singing Ubi Caritas. Richard Height from the Stewardship Committee has a message for us.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Richard. So usually at this time of year, we would have a big church party to mark the beginning of our annual pledge drive. In fact, it probably would have been last night, and the main hall would have been filled with lots of people and lots of great food. But guess what? This year's different, and I don't need to tell you why. Our church survived a very difficult year, and we are emerging stronger together. We are very hopeful that the winter of our discontent will indeed end, but we aren't there yet. So we are encouraging all of you to participate in this year's pledge drive. We are all in this together. We need you and we need each other.
on Zoom. We're gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We transform ourselves, let yourself just shine. Transforming every day, let yourself just shine. Transform you and me, let yourself just shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Run and close our doors, now we're gonna let it shine. Run and close our doors, now we're gonna let it shine. Run and close our doors, now we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Care for others' needs, yes, we're gonna let it shine. Care for others' needs, yes, we're gonna let it shine. Care for others' needs, yes, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. UUCPA, we're gonna let it shine. UUCPA, we're gonna let it shine. UUCPA, we're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
This sermon's title is a statement and a question. I'm not going to tell you the answer because it's not that kind of question. What matters most is a question each of us answers for ourselves. Mary Oliver told us her answer: my work, which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished. And as the poem's title tells us, she's a messenger to all the beauties she observes, the astonishing clam and sunflower, the yeast and the pasture, telling them all over and over her gratitude with shouts of joy. And also a messenger to us as we hear her words, bearing the message in her gentle way, that we too have something that matters most, that we too have our work in this world. Hers is to love the world. She offers us an envelope, beautifully lettered, our name written on it with love and attention. And when we draw out the message inside, it has just 5 words on it. What matters most to you? When we know what matters, other things fall away. Like the poet no longer worrying, are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still half perfect? We all spend our time, spend ourselves in concern about the things that don't matter as much or at all. That our boots are old, or we are. That we're still only halfway to perfect. That we haven't accomplished something that we'd planned to accomplish by now. That other people don't think we're good enough or worthy of any respect. We concern ourselves with a future that probably won't happen and a past that is set in concrete instead of where we are right now and what we can actually do. And so we need people like Mary Oliver to bring us back. If Mary Oliver isn't here, which, alas, she is not, since she died a few years ago, then you've got me and other worship leaders to bring you her words. If it's not Sunday, you've got each other to help you to know what matters most. I recall long ago seeing a quote on a college brochure that said something like, if you never in your 4 years here stayed up for the whole night reading just for the sheer love of it, then all the classes, lectures, textbooks, and labs have failed, because in their sneaky way, that's all they were really trying to get you to do. I want to say this about UUCPA. If you never, in your time here, feel the surge of joy and conviction from knowing what matters most, what is your work and your purpose, then all the sermons, music, classes, gatherings, and justice efforts have failed, because in their sneaky way, that's all they were really trying to get you to do. That's what it's all for. It's not something we can bottle and give out as one easy-to-swallow pill or one shot in the upper arm, or even two. A lot of the time, most of the time, there's no big moment of revelation, no epiphany. You leave the service with a couple of ideas to chew on. You leave a small group feeling supported and appreciated. You learn something interesting in a class. That's all. And it's enough, most of the time. But just now and then, there's a bigger shift that makes you want to sing and shout, Eureka! Hallelujah! Or maybe there's no shout at all. It just grows bit by bit into a quiet, solid sense of serenity. You know what's important. You know what your life is about. Maybe it comes to you when you're walking the dish, or when you're holding your grandchild, or when you wake up from a vivid dream. Maybe you've seen it through your binoculars in the body of a bird, or felt it as you paused in singing and heard the voices of others around you carry the melody forward. Maybe you learned it from a book, or from the stars, or from a soft hand reaching for your own. Maybe you realized it bit by bit and only know now, in this moment of reflection, that you're already rolling on the road that takes you where you belong. Or maybe you haven't realized yet what that destination is, what that road is, and you are still searching, still wondering. That's why we sustain this congregation. That's why we pay to keep the music coming, and the classes meeting, and the organizing, and the ministers preaching, and the internet turned on. Because UUCPA helps us connect or reconnect to that knowledge. This is a democratically run community, and as I remind you each week, in order to remain free to make our own decisions, we fund everything ourselves. Oh, we got an excellent grant from the Pacific Central District of the Unitarian Universalist Association to help us reach out to new people, and some very hardworking folks on our finance committee got us Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, money from the government, and hope to get us some more. But we aren't an arm of any organization, and we're not beholden to anyone for our funding. Whatever happens here happens because each of us decided it matters to us to be reminded what matters to us. And that's why when you join a stewardship conversation over the next few weeks, we focus on exactly that. What is important to each of us? If you're thinking of staying away because you hate being asked for money, please reconsider. I'll be leading 3 of these conversations, and the sum total of talk about money is that we close by reminding you to please support the congregation as generously as you can. No arm twisting, no guilt tripping. Instead, at the gatherings that Richard described, you and everyone else gathered will do simply this. Share what we each like best at UUCPA and what we're most looking forward to when we can be together in person again. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Over the next several weeks, we'll fill up this garden. When you pledge, we'll add a flower. So much loss, so much waiting. By the ways we have supported each other and will support each other in living into that promise. As I said, it's not something we can bottle. Nor can I put the right words into a sermon and know that they will be the button that says what matters most. Push it and you'll know. It emerges from all we do together, all we are together. Just the same, for the last few minutes of this sermon, we're going to reflect on this simple question. What matters most to us? Because that is one of the most important questions we can ask each other. Just 5 words. What matters most to you? Maybe you're still searching. If so, you're in the right place, because we're here to help you discover it. Being a non-creedal religion, we don't have a one-line answer or even a book-length answer. Unitarian Universalism doesn't exist to proclaim the glory of God or spread the teachings of one particular prophet. What it does is help us each to know what matters most to us and then help us to shape our lives towards those purposes. Matt Rosen, one of our members here, wrote a poem about what matters. He delivered it beautifully here, and you can see him read the entire poem on the UUA's worship web, or shortly on our YouTube page. I'll post the link this week along with this service. The poem's title, perhaps Matt's own answer to this question, we could ask him, is You Matter. Maybe in its words, find your answer. You see old things anew. You turn them and test them. Your wonder exhausts our old words to express them. You play across fences that keep us divided. Old walls become weak where your love is ignited. Or maybe you will find or renew your answer in silence, a silence that is hard to find in the hurry and hassle of your days. For that reason, we'll create a small space of silence right now. Actually, we already did, but we'll do it again. And maybe one of these imaginings will help you to know or help you to remember what matters most. Think of a time when you felt deeply content and connected. When, in the words of another Mary Oliver poem, you knew your place in the family of things. Or remember a time when you were happiest. What were you doing? What was happening around you? Or when you encounter others' stories, say in a news report or a conversation, what has been a story that made you want to join them, be there alongside them? Or when you feel most fulfilled and satisfied, what are you doing? Some warning voice may follow, saying that you can't do that, or that that experience can't be repeated. Ask that voice to just hold off for now. We're not figuring out the how just now. We're just figuring out the what. What matters? If you know what matters, but you don't know how to act on it, email one of your ministers and ask for some time to talk. For now, let's just listen to our own wise inner voices, the ones that know what matters. I'm going to give a little more time of silence for that. And if those wise inner voices haven't emerged, that's a good reason to reach out to your ministers too. This is the home of your soul, the community whose purpose is to help you find and live out your purpose. Let's begin at coffee hour. Ask each other this simple question: what matters most to you? And make time for each person to answer and be heard. That's what we'll be doing in the main room. If that space or a breakout room isn't the right space for you to have these conversations, reach out to someone you'd like to talk with one-on-one. William will enable private messaging so that you can use chat to connect with anyone else in the room. You could set up a time to each pull up a chair and bring a cup of tea to a conversation and ask each other, what matters most to you? Some wise person I can't track down right now said there is no power on earth like people who have discovered the answer to this question. I know that if we help each other to know what matters and help each other to live it, we will emerge stronger. And like the poet, we will go rejoicing through the world in gratitude, astonishment, and love. So may it be. In addition to their annual pledges, each week our members and friends may choose to give an additional contribution as a public testimony of the importance of what we do here. With our offering, we also assert that we are part of the interdependent web of existence. And so 1 week per month, your gift goes to an organization we have chosen together because we want to be its partner in the transformation of the world. If this congregation shares your vision of what matters, I hope you will give generously. The order of service gives a QR code and link and also information on using text to give via Give Lively. If you are visiting for the first time, you're our guest. Please just enjoy the music as our gift to you.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me that I might blow your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that blows in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that blows in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that blows in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love that blows in the winter time.
We extinguish our chalice now with the words from Alice Walker, taking the light with us, as always. Wherever spirit takes us is where we live. Please stay after the benediction for our virtual coffee time. You'll be invited to the small group conversations in our breakout rooms, or you can stay here in the main room with me. If you have the latest version of Zoom, you should be able to freely move between breakout rooms on your own. The rooms will stay open for half an hour. Please unmute yourself and turn on your video. And before we say our benediction together, can we use this opportunity when we can all be seen and heard to give our appreciation to an incredible crew of people? I want to read you their names. The group of people who puts the tech on or has done so in recent months. Greg Becker, Tim Berry, Marabee Berry, Heather Chen, David Chen, Dox Doxiadis, Mark and Alyssa Erickson, Megan Fazio, Castor Fu, Reverend Dan Harper, Chris Jacoby, Christopher Can, Paul Kostka, Kevin Ma, Bruce Olstad, Susan Owicki, William Phelps, Elsa Schaefer, Melissa Valentine, BJ Wyszynski, and Ann Zeiss. And I'd particularly like to give a special thanks for these incredible amount of work these past few weeks to Tim Berry, Paul Kostka, and Mark Erickson for making it possible for us to have multiple views and all sorts of changes. Let's give it up.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay.
Woo.
I don't have am I saying?
Thank you. Oh, and one more. Somebody who was helping a lot until a couple weeks ago was Kay Brown, bringing us captions until she got put out of work by new technology. Hooray. Now let us say our benediction together. Go out into the world in peace.
Be of
Good
courage.
Fast is good. Turn no one evil. The faint-hearted, the weak,
Suffering.
rejoice in beauty, love, word and deed. Honor all be. Amen.